This is where we started it on Monday. Looks like a good place to close it. However, at this time, the crowd around and inside the campus has thinned out. But in the past 6 days, it's been a marathon of meetings. Global economic issues have been given a lot of attention. From the economic outlook, which didn't give a lot of good news, but still offers hope.
With elevated debt levels, rising funding costs, slowing growth, and an increasing mismatch between the growing demands on the state and available fiscal resources. Higher long-term growth can be achieved through a careful sequence of reforms.
Nigeria got attention here too.
There's a downward revision for this year. Partly this is because of the demonetization, the high inflation, the shocks to agriculture and hydrocarbon output. That's coming on top of those external headwinds. I would also add that President Tinubu has moved quickly with important reforms, including ending the fuel subsidies and unifying the official exchange rate. We welcome these initial bold reforms because we see them as paving the way towards stronger and inclusive growth.
Also, an interest-free loan of $1.5 billion may be coming the way of Nigeria from the World Bank.
Not at all about attached with qualifying for a World Bank funding to help finance development. In this particular case, it's long been in the pipeline, and we're hoping that that funding will come through soon.
And then to the G24, being a voice to their members and seeking better packages and condition.
The world economic outlook is very uncertain, and many of our countries have been at the receiving end of very high interest rates, very high inflation, currency volatility, and because of all of that, they're facing quite a huge economic hardship. And so what we are calling for is that the IMF should ramp up its financing, the Poverty Reduction and Growth Trust, and also the Resilience and Sustainability Facility.
No doubt, the issue of debt cancellation is priority in the midst of huge debt burden on many emerging economies. For the World Bank President, Mr. Ejibanga, it's time for Africa to look inwards.
You cannot solve it for the continent as a whole, but you can solve it by starting by smaller regions in the continent, looking at how you can promote intra-regional trade in Africa.
A global trade debate was another interesting conversation here. The Director General of World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, brought up the term re-globalization.
Then, to build resilience, we need, yes, to deconcentrate and diversify those supply chains. And we are arguing that a good way to do it is not just to do it with your friends or those who are like you, but to spread your wings, because we also have something called climate change. And if you cluster too many things, you don't know what phenomenon is going to happen. So why don't we look at developing economies that have the right business environment, and I insist on that, and see if we can diversify some supply chains there. So we build resilience. Some of these have been left out during the first wave of globalization. So we can build resilience whilst being inclusive. And we're calling that re-globalization.
Alongside the serious business, Marrakesh was exposed to a lot of foreigners who would otherwise have not visited. Participants got to know the culture and the city. Not enough time to tell you all that happened in Marrakesh in the last 1 week, but these are the high points we can bring to you. And so, from here, the city that has been called a luxurious city, I'm going back home to Nigeria. Ini John Mekwa reporting for Channels Television News.